The policy I researched for this project was universal paid family leave. I will be examining the costs and benefits to enacting such a program, as well as who stands to gain or lose from it, and how to convince stakeholders of its importance. So, a little context on the paid leave issue. The US is one of only a few countries in the world without paid family leave. The others are seen on this map: Papua New Guinea and Suriname. And about 83% of Democrats and 77% of Republicans who were surveyed support the act. In 1993, President Bill Clinton passed the Family and Medical Leave Act, which ensures workers 12 weeks of unpaid, job-protected leave to care for a newborn or sick family member. The problem is that despite covering a large portion of the labor force, many people do not take advantage of this program because they can't afford to lose their paychecks. Vicky Szabo on the top right is a corporate lawyer and vice president of the National Partnership for Women and Families, who frequently testifies before Congress in support of the Family Act. And the two senators on the bottom are Rosa DeLauro and Kirsten Gillibrand, who are the sponsors for the act. The New America Care Index found that the average cost to put an infant in daycare is higher than the cost of in-state tuition at a 4-year college in 33 states. The average cost for nanny care is more than 3 times the cost of college tuition, so parents either have to pay ridiculous prices for childcare so they can continue working or sacrifice their salary to care for the child themselves. Parents who were surveyed by the Human Rights Watch group who took unpaid leave went into debt and were forced to seek assistance from public services. Many women blamed employer bias against working mothers for derailing their careers, and several same-sex couples were denied any leave at all. Obviously, the money to pay for employees to go on leave has to come from somewhere, and it comes in the form of increased tax burdens. In the states that have already implemented paid leave, employees have seen another 1% of their payroll taken out in taxes. Another disadvantage is disruption to the workplace. Employers have to find and pay for temporary replacements on top of paying the employees who go on leave. Also, if employers have to pay highly educated, high-value workers the same as less educated ones, it could lead to discrimination in the hiring process, especially towards women of childbearing ages. Some benefits of paid leave can be seen in Norway. After they introduced paid leave in 1977, high school graduation rates went up, and children's earnings at age 30, even more so for children of less educated mothers. And the evidence from states which have paid leave suggests that mothers see increases in earnings and less dependence on public services after they are given paid leave to care for a newborn. A significant advantage to paid family leave is the loyalty that this policy creates amongst employees. Knowing that an employer cares about their workers' well-being and work-life balance more than their own bottom line creates trust amongst employees, and loyal workers means increased retention rates, lower employee turnover, and less hiring costs. The benefits which take the longest time to show up are for the children of the parents on leave. According to a survey in 2011 by the Human Rights Watch group, parents without paid leave said that it led to postpartum depression, giving up breastfeeding too early, and delaying their child's immunizations. The biggest winners from a national paid leave program are the families of the employees on leave. Mothers get the time they need to physically recover, which according to the World Health Organization is 16 weeks. Having a newborn is extremely stressful, so having both parents available to care for the children is beneficial to the parents' mental health and, most importantly, for the children. Despite employers being the ones who take on the tax burden of universal family leave, evidence gathered in California after paid leave was implemented showed small businesses actually saved over $80 million a year because of higher employee retention and avoiding the cost of new hires. The quote-unquote losers in this situation are the taxpayers who have to lose a little more on their paycheck in order to fund the universal paid leave program, although really, the only true losers are the few people who take on the extra tax burden and do not receive any benefits because they're not taking care of any children or sick relatives. A study by Columbia economist Maya Rawson-Slater found that after taking paid leave to care for a newborn, mothers saw an increase in hours worked and wages earned. So there may not be a full increase in labor supply, but mothers who take paid leave will most likely shift upwards along the supply curve. study done by the U.S. Census Bureau in 2017 confirmed that disruption of female employment after childbirth is a major cause for the gender pay gap. According to a 2012 publication by two Rutgers economists, new mothers who take paid leave the year after a birth are more likely than those who don't to stay in the workforce, and 54% more likely to report wage increases. The Family Act is a great policy, not just for working mothers, but for the workforce as a whole. Everybody deserves time off to focus on family without having to worry about financial stability. The short-term benefits to mental health and the long-term health benefits to the children of the workers on leave far outweigh the fiscal costs of a universal paid family and medical leave program. Although the topic of paid leave is really a human issue, looking at the problem from a political point of view is a good way to convince stakeholders of its importance. More than 3/4 of all the major political parties want this act to be passed, so this is one of the rare cases when politicians would be upsetting very few voters by supporting the Family Act. Despite the strong bipartisan support for the Family Act, many people are still concerned about the impact paid leave will have on the economy and more specifically on small businesses. However, the data from states like New Jersey and California prove that paid leave is actually more beneficial to small businesses than previously thought. So the only people who could oppose the Family Act are those who believe the fiscal costs somehow outweigh the countless benefits, and to convince these people, I would show them the data from states which have already implemented universal paid leave. For example, in California, 90% of businesses said that paid family leave had a neutral or positive impact on performance and productivity, and by reducing worker turnover,